Good evening, everyone. It's good to see you. It is 7 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for coming out this evening to our town hall meeting. Throughout this meeting, as in the past, we will share with you what your city government has to offer to you as residents, as well as listen to your concerns and ideas on how we can make our city a better place to work, live, and play. So I'm real thankful for all of you coming out tonight to be part of this conversation. Thank you to Helen Thaxton Charter School. Thank you all very much for your generosity in hosting us tonight and providing the opportunity for community members to tour this great facility. This is my second visit today here. We had a ribbon cutting earlier this morning, and we're back here now for our town hall meeting. So thank you for being such gracious hosts. And I also know that you desire to become like a community center, if you will, in some regards, and allow for many more community activities to occur in these walls. So thank you, and we hope that we are starting something for you. For the record, again, I enjoy locating our town hall meetings in the community where our residents reside, and at varying times to allow for people to come when it suits their schedule. So we've had town hall meetings, as some of you know, in many different locations throughout the city. Since I have taken office, we were at William Penn Senior High School, Allen Park, United Way, Lincoln Fire Station, our own city council chambers, and even at Lincoln Charter School. So we try to get around throughout the city at different locations. So I'm real grateful to all of our past hosts and future hosts, because we'll be knocking on your doors to have a town hall meeting somewhere near you. I just have a couple updates to provide to you, and I'm going to then turn it over to the directors so they can give you updates from the various departments, and you are free to ask us questions too as we get through our presentations. But first, I'd like to acknowledge where does she go? There she is. Karen Schwartz. She is with Representative Shriver's office. His office is now located, his York office is located in the city government building, 101 South George Street, and she just wants to give a little bit of information regarding Kevin Shriver's, Representative Shriver's office, and how he serves you as well. Karen?
Good evening, everyone. As Mayor Bracey mentioned, we moved our office from the square to 101 South George Street. Our district office is located on the second floor, and we're happy to serve anyone and do as much as we can to help you navigate the state government and deal with some of the state legislative issues that you may be facing. Over the past few months, since Representative Shriver took office, we've been at wellness fairs and senior expos, touring many of the schools in our district, and visiting the community centers. If you have an event that you're interested in having us attend, please let us know. Give us a call in our office. Visit Kevin's Facebook or his website and share the message with us. We're happy to get out into the community as much as we possibly can. I'll be around during and after the meeting, so if you have any questions, please let me know. And on the back table, we have some information about the services we provide in our office, as well as some of the other institutions that we work with around the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. We appreciate the partnership with Representative Shriver, and thank you for being here tonight. A couple updates I want to share with you. Let's Move York City. You all have heard me talk about it. You've seen us trying to get fit and active throughout the city, and I'm encouraging everyone to you have an opportunity to sign up to be part of this initiative. We're trying to lose 5,000 pounds as a community and log in 350,000 minutes worth of physical activity, so I need your help. You can go on our website to log on to our Let's Move York City initiative and be part of that. Along with that, earlier this week, we had a press conference where we were able to announce formally that Weight Watchers Healthy Communities Grant is here in the city and about to start. We're ready to accept registrations for that program, and you can do so by logging on, again, to our website, yorkcity.org, to find out more information and to sign up locations about that. We are excited about that, and many communities are almost a little jealous that York is one of 3 throughout the country Only 3 throughout the country were chosen to be part of this initiative. And we know we have an obesity issue in York County in general, but we also want to provide the tools for people in our community to become fit and physically able to do a lot of other activities as well too. So this is going to be a great opportunity for people to just take advantage of. The rates, as you know, Weight Watchers is a program that costs some money. Well, the rates have been reduced substantially for folks that sign on through us. So please log on to our website, yorkcity.org, and you'll find information about Weight Watchers Healthy Communities Grant. We are still in need of mentors. We have our Mentor York program. It's a wonderful opportunity for professionals to mentor and give back to our young people. This has been going on for some time now, the last 2 years with our administration, and it is a program that has also received national recognition from the U.S. Conference of Mayors for our work. But our mentors so far have given back over 300 hours of community service through their mentoring with young people. We've paired them up with young people at William Penn Senior High School from 9th grade through it began in the 9th grade year, and we would love to have you be a part of that as well. The program requires that mentors commit to being involved in the life, if you will, of their mentee for the 4 years that they're in high school, during that whole high school experience. And if you think back to your high school experience, you know, we've had some experiences. So to partner up with a professional and to help guide and direct the young people, that's what this program is about. And there is more information on our website about that as well. And I believe we have some brochures in the back about our Mentor York program. I continue to ask folks to take 10 minutes on Tuesday, to keep taking those 10 minutes to keep our neighborhood and our city clean. Honestly, that's all it takes. I was amazed at the amount of litter that I was able to pick up, unfortunately, this past Tuesday. But you can do it on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday as well. We picked up some and saw some earlier today too. So, but it just encourages all of us to keep the city looking good, and all of us to do a small part in helping with that initiative. And customer service. Customer service still is extremely important to me. And it's important to me that our staff of the City of York are responding to all of our needs in a timely manner, as you may request. I've urged our staff to respond to all calls and emails within 24 hours, if at all possible, while understanding that not all answers to questions can be provided within that time frame, and not all answers are going to be what you want to hear, but you will receive a response from us within the time frame that I've asked folks to respond back to you. Our website also has the ability for individuals to share their ideas under our Contact York tab, located again on the website. You can complete a customer service satisfaction survey on the front page of our website as well too. So we're really pushing a lot of technology out there these days, and you can find most any and everything that you want to know about your city government on yorkcity.org, our website. And lastly, from me, at least right now, I would like to announce, tomorrow evening, in collaboration with several community partners, the YMCA, the Crispus Attucks, the School District of the City of York, New Hope Academy, and probably some others I'm forgetting, the local chapter, the NAACP, we are kicking off our Teens Fourth Friday from 6 to 8 at Cherry Lane. We've heard it over the years. Folks always say there's not a lot for our young people to do. We're giving them one more opportunity to find something to do within our community. And I'm encouraging all of our teens. We've been out at the schools, knocking on doors, at our churches, etc., to make sure our young people know that this is going to be a fun-filled evening for them in Cherry Lane in downtown York. The event will provide our youth with a safe and positive environment to enjoy themselves, to meet new people, and receive information on other community programs. There will be food, music, entertainment, prizes, and a lot of things just for our young people. So we're asking that you all help us get that word out a little bit more as well, too. We're going to have this event once per month at various locations throughout the city. I know one of the locations is at our roller skating rink. So we are intending to have fun with our young people the fourth Friday of the month. And tomorrow begins the first one. So I thank you all for those announcements. I will, again, entertain some questions as we go through the evening. But first, I'd like to introduce and We'll take the mic over there, right? Okay. Make sure you all know who helps make our city run. Our directors, we have our Director of Public Works, Jim Groves, Chief Kelly, our Police Chief, Chief Michaels, our Fire Chief, and our Acting Directors of Community Economic Development, Economic and Community Development, Shavasi Buffalo. And they'll give you a little bit of information regarding what's going on in their various departments. And again, we'll take questions, concerns, ideas from you as we wrap up.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a couple things to sort of update you on. Big project that we've been working on this year is the renovation of our police station. We are close to completing phase 1 of that project, which was really the big part of the project, the upper 2 floors. And then we will be moving the police and we will complete the project. We're scheduled to complete for completion by March of next year. The police have been very patient. It's been very difficult trying to renovate a building with them still occupying the building, but they've worked extremely well with us, and hopefully they're going to be very happy with the finished product. It is going to be a very nice functional police station for them when we're finished, and hopefully when we're all done, everyone will get a chance to have a little open house and you'll be able to come and see it. Tomorrow, we will be building a new playground out at Yorktown Park. We were very fortunate to receive a grant from an organization called Kaboom, which is a national organization. And we received funding to build this new playground, and we will have members of the community coming together to help us do it. And in one day's time, we will build a new playground at Yorktown Park. We did a similar project at Allen Park, not too far away, about 2 years ago. So our BOP committee, our Bring On Play committee, has been very active in helping us, and we're very appreciative of that. Sure. You could probably still use some volunteers if you're interested. So we'll be starting at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning at Yorktown Park, which is off of Roosevelt Avenue on Kelly Drive. Third thing I want to mention is we are in the process of distributing new recycling bins. Our waste hauler, York Waste, is doing that for us. It is a several-month period it's going to take to get bins throughout the city, but hopefully over the next few months, you will be getting a new recycling bin at your residence. So we encourage you to recycle. Recycling saves money for the city. Every ton of waste that we can divert from the incinerator saves the city $56 a ton, so it all adds up. So we're distributing new, larger bins. If you have a house that can support that bin, you can fill it up and help us recycle. The mayor mentioned Take 10 on Tuesday. On Saturday, October the 12th, Keep York Beautiful is doing a citywide litter cleanup, and we definitely could use your help on that day. We'll start at 8 o'clock at City Hall in the parking lot. We disband people all throughout the city. We give you supplies. We ask you to go out just for a couple hours and help us clean up litter. It's usually a good day. We usually get several hundred volunteers out. So we got several tons of litter in one day, and we can clean up the city in one day's time. And Keep York Beautiful is very active in helping us. And finally, I wanted to mention it's getting darker earlier now because of the time change. And you're starting to notice probably some street lights. Perhaps you notice those street lights are not on. If they're not on, if they're not lit, you can report them to us. They are Med-Ed street lights, but we can get Med-Ed to come out and take care of the problem. So there's a couple things we would ask of you. We need to know our location, the closest house number that you can come up with. There should be a yellow tag on that pole, which has a 10-digit number. It'd be very helpful if you could give us that 10-digit number. And then the problem itself, is the light out? Does the light go on and off? Sometimes the light's on all day long. So it's usually one of those 3 issues. If you could let us know that, you can get information on our website. It has a phone number. The phone number is 845-9351. But all the information is on the website as to how you can report a street light out. So I do spend a lot of time, especially in the winter, because it does get dark earlier. I'll drive streets, and you can find a lot of street lights that are out in the city. And Med-Ed is fairly responsive once we get those reported to them to come out and repair them. So thank you very much, and I'll pass it on to Chief Cayley.
Good evening. As just to piggyback on one thing that Jim mentioned about the police station, last January we changed some of the hours at the front desk of the police department after doing a study on what the needs were of people that were coming in to visit our front desk and calling in. We closed down now from 11 o'clock at night until 7 in the morning. There's nobody assigned at the front desk. We've reallocated that manpower, and again, on Saturday and Sundays, there's no one there. And again, that began in January, but people are still coming in expecting to find somebody at the front desk. All you have to do is call 911, and even if, and people say, well, it's not an emergency, 911 in our area also handles non-emergencies, so you can give them a call, and we will have someone come out and make sure that your problem's dealt with, or give you a phone call and try and handle it that way. So we just try and keep reminding people of that. Excuse me. Once the first phase of the project is over, the front desk is going to be relocated temporarily. We're going to put some news releases out about that to inform you how to get into the police department to get service. So please pay attention to that, because the front doors will be shut down for a period of time to the police department while that area is worked on. Again, we're occupying a building trying to run a 24/7 police department while there's people in there doing construction and changing things. So please bear with us over this next phase as things change a little bit, so we can get to a good final product that'll serve the community well. For those of you that don't know, in the area between Queen Street and State Street and Market Street to York Street, we have a neighborhood enforcement unit. There's 6 of those around the city. We have one in that area. There are officers directly assigned to that area, and their job is to problem solve, to walk, to ride bikes, to figure out what's going on in that area and try and deal with that. I just spoke with some people this evening that are just outside of that area. We will stretch outside of an area a little bit to deal with a problem, and I'll be turning their issue over to them to have them directly address that. So please be aware that there's people there. If you don't know who those officers are, how to get a hold of them, call into to the front desk and ask for the neighborhood enforcement unit, and we'll make sure that someone gives you a call and tries to help you with what your problems are, because they're there to directly problem solve within their district. For those of you over the last several years that paid attention out in the West End, we had a gates program where we installed grocer gates in the breezeways between homes. It was done free of charge, it was done without taxpayer money, and it was done with volunteer resources. We put close to 300 gates in those areas out in the west end of the city, and in the area it's in, last year we saw a reduction of 22% in crime in that area. You speak to the people that live there, they have much greater sense of security. We hear from them often where they feel they can go outside the back door of their home now and not be worried about someone being there that wasn't there before, because these gates are there and they're locked. We found a donor that came forward to start doing that project in the northeast area of the city. So the first phase of that project is going to be from Queen Street to Broad Street, and from Philly to York to the school in that area. Then we're going to extend it coming east a little further. But we're hoping to do a build or two in that area before it gets too cold to where the workers can't drill into the ground and pour concrete and that sort of thing. So again, it's being done without taxpayer resources. It's donated money from private donations. The volunteers come out from Habitat for Humanity, the York Builders Association, and those sorts of groups, and install them. They're high-end builders that are coming out and actually installing grocer gates in between the houses. I never thought I would see that, but it's a great volunteer group that does that, and all supported by the Women's Giving Circle here in the city. So we're excited about that. Last but not least, doesn't necessarily deal with this area in general, but the city and the county as a whole. You're going to start hearing more and more about a thing called the Can-Am Police Fire Games. 5 years ago, York was awarded the games for 2014. These are games that take place throughout the United States and Canada. They're Olympic-style games for first responders. We beat out places such as Green Bay, Wisconsin, to have it awarded here. This is the furthest east the games have ever been awarded, and we're expecting 4,000 to 5,000 participants to come to York to participate in these games in July, from July 13th to the 20th. And that doesn't include their families that they're bringing with them. So there's going to be stuff all around both the city and York County during that time. We're looking for volunteers. You'll start to hear things along that end to put these games on over a week period. We're going to need approximately 400 to 500 volunteers. The games, unlike the Keystone Games, are put on directly by first responders. So all of us are taking part in raising the money to make sure it happens, making sure the events go off and that sort of thing. So it's actually a big deal. Again, it's the first time it's ever been this far east, and the International Federation is looking very hopefully for us to have the largest event that they have ever had. Already we had people signing up from as far away as Hawaii and Kuwait to come to York. I think in 25 states so far have sent applications, and several provinces in Canada. So this is definitely going to be an international event that's going to be a big thing for York and really help our tourist industry out quite a bit. And last but not least, I was reminded of a very important thing, but Trick or Treat is October 31st. As always, in the city, we always make sure that it's on Halloween. So make sure that you have your lights on and you're ready to give candy out to all the little ghouls and goblins that are walking around our city to expecting candy. So that's all. I'll pass it on to the fire chief now.
Okay, thanks, Chief. I'll give you an update of some things going on in the fire department. First of all, on our fire suppression side, the firefighters have been busy this year. This year to date, we've answered 1,971 calls. Also, we have a busy time coming up for us. Fire Prevention Week is going to soon be here. That is October 6th to the 12th. For us, it's almost turned into Fire Prevention Month. We really try to get out there, get the fire safety message. We really try to get to the kids. We do a lot of school visits, tours of the fire stations. The theme of this year's Fire Prevention Week is preventing kitchen fires. So look for some more information coming out from us on that. It is something that we do see here. We do have fires that are caused by cooking or careless cooking. So again, that's the theme this year. We're going to try to prevent those. The firefighters have been busy on we've been trying to get or doing some training. Again, we want to make sure you have a well-trained, competent fire department. We just had 10 firefighters certified to the Firefighter 2 level. This was a big goal of ours to get those certifications. And with that, we'll be applying to the state to be what's called a participating department. So that, again, that just shows that you have a well-trained, competent fire department that's responding to your emergencies. We do continue to work with North York Borough. We are providing fire protection there. That's been going very well for us. Gives us a chance to work with their fire department. We respond and help them if they need help, and the same if we need help at a fire, they would come and help us. So that's been going very well for us. The firefighters themselves have been doing a lot of charity work throughout the community. They did a food drive at Easter. They've been raising some money for different charities. One thing you're going to see them in October, which is Cancer Awareness Month. The firefighters will be wearing pink T-shirts in honor of that. And also a way to raise some money for that, they'll be selling supporter T-shirts. So anybody interested in that, or if you see the firefighters, they can give you information. And again, just a way to raise some money to give back. On our fire prevention side, we do in the Fire Prevention Bureau handle all the license and inspection program of the tenant occupied properties in the city. So we do have the inspectors continue with that. We also are part of the city civil enforcement team. That's pretty much a group of city employees from all departments, police department, public works, building, and try to address quality of life issues. Part of that is clean sweeps that take place throughout the city, and actually there'll be one coming up next week. The sweep next week is going to take place, the area will be between Philadelphia and Company Street from Hartley out to Carlisle Avenue. So again, a chance to get into some neighborhoods, address some of those quality of life issues. Also, before the end of this year, there'll also be what we call a mini sweep. So again, it's still a sweep. It'll be a smaller area, and that's going to be in the area of Lindbergh Avenue. So again, our fire prevention people will be part of that citywide team. From our EMA or our emergency management standpoint, we just finished up a community emergency response training, which is a CERT program. That is citizens that get the chance to actually take some training, and they can be used in an actual emergency. These CERT teams are throughout the nation. In a large-scale disaster, obviously the first responders are going to be taxed. Our resources are going to be put to the limit. The CERT team's a good way to get some additional help. Trained in some basic first aid, search techniques, those types of rescue situations. Look for one coming sometime early next year. Like I said, our last one, which just finished up this month, was very successful, and we hope to get one running sometime the beginning of next year. Also, from the emergency management part, we continue to work with some other agencies on drills. A hot topic now is some school safety. So we do have some people involved in that, trying to run through some drills just to keep our community safe. As a way that for us to keep in touch with you and with the citizens, just got some social media for us. The mayor talked about our city's website. Please be sure to check out when you go to yorkcity.org, the fire department section. Deputy Chief Halpin has been doing a lot of work to get the fire department part up to date. We have a lot of good information on that for you. Should be useful information. And I do ask, if you look at that and there's something you think you would like to see, something that would benefit you, please let us know. We can definitely add links, add stuff to our webpage. So please take a look at that. Also, we are on Facebook. We do have a Facebook page that we try to get out there, and we're also doing the Twitter page. So the Twitter's been going very well for us. We actually got involved in that when Hurricane Sandy came through last year. That's really when we got involved in it. We actually talked to some of the media about that, and it did go well. We were able to get some information out there. The media could see that. They could retweet it, get it out for the citizens. It's good, accurate information, up-to-date information that we can get out there. Emergency scenes, we try to get that on there if we can, to tell you road closings or dangerous scenes, some things that are going on. So just a way for us to let you know what's going on. And finally tonight, just an update on our smoke detector program. At the last, first of all, we do have a smoke detector program. If requested, city residents need smoke detectors. We take the information and then the firefighters will go out and actually install those. We install the proper number in the proper locations. We were so successful with that program that we actually ran out of detectors earlier this year. At the last town hall meeting, I did make a request for donations. So again, we were very successful and had a lot of people contact us. We've got well over 500 smoke detectors available now through donations. So we are back and installing smoke detectors. If you need any, or you know anybody that they do need smoke detectors, have them call our fire chief's office. That is 854-3921. We'll get your information and we'll get the firefighters out to install those. So again, we're very happy to have those back. We did have a slight period where we were out of those. We weren't able to install them, but now they are back. And like I said, feel free to call us if you need them or anybody you know needs them. Thank you.
Good evening. As many as you already know, but it certainly deserves restating, the combined Department of Community and Economic Development works to improve the quality of life concerns in the city, continue the positive trend of reinvestment in the various neighborhoods, and works tirelessly to provide a high level of customer service to its constituents throughout the community. That being said, towards that goal, some notable activities that are underway, specifically as they relate per department. For the Bureau of Housing Services, there are presently 2 current affordable housing projects under development. George Street Commons is nearing substantial completion and is continuing to field applications for potential tenants at that facility at the intersection of South George Street and College Avenue. And secondarily, the homes at Thaxton Park is actually complete and is definitely a welcome addition to York's landscape. Although I'm biased, we hope that it's the best yet to come with the York Housing Authority as it continues to make positive strides along that corridor. As it relates to the Department of Economic and Community Development, a discrete bureau, heretofore known as the Bureau of Economic Development, Our focus has shifted under the Bracey administration to be more inclusionary, embrace investment outside of the downtown area directly as it relates to the neighborhoods. So under the auspices of that direction, over the last 2 years, I'd say, our efforts in Old Town East, particularly with the Royal Square neighborhood, we've recently submitted with partnership with the York YWCA, a neighborhood partnership program application for $1,250,000 to be utilized to develop 3 buildings potentially along South Duke Street, formerly Allison's Bar, and 2 blighted and abandoned properties right there at the intersection of Duke and Newton, I believe it is. We hope to renovate those 2 properties with the investment of funds and reposition these assets for properties to a higher, more productive use and add some more additional stability in that particular area. And further along those lines, the City Redevelopment Authority, in conjunction with the City of York General Authority, is looking to launch early 2014 an envisioning study, market study of not just that particular block that pretty much is bounded by by Queen, Duke, Princess, and King, out 1 residual block in every direction to include 9 square blocks, and see what potential opportunities exist there for future development along that particular area. Moving along, I'm happy to announce tonight, many of you have probably read over the last couple of months, specifically as it relates to the Northwest Triangle area, we are going to be the recipients of a twinplex movie theater downtown, once again. Sweet City Cinemas, particularly Penn Ketchum, is slated to break ground on his project in the 200 block of North Beaver Street, January or February of 2014, and is looking to be open, if all things go well with his construction schedule, with weather working in his favor, to be open by the 3rd or 4th quarter of 2014. For us, many of you probably have a strong sense of nostalgia when there was something to do downtown, hearkening back probably 2 or 3 generations ago. Now we actually have an event or a venue that'll host first-run movie features downtown, independent film and some artsy films, but hopefully, and this might be an ambitious statement, maybe it'll be a catalyst to have York's first film festival in the community. So we truly welcome Penn's investment into the community and want to acknowledge first and foremost 3 core development efforts to bring him here to consider York in the first place. Secondarily, the city has worked in conjunction with Lancaster for the past 2 years, and fairly recently the governor and the General Assembly has approved legislation to establish what's known as a CRIZ. That CRIZ effort will basically be along the lines to help expedite our economic development plans, hopefully at a faster clip than what we've been able to accomplish them over the last 10 years. So what remains to be seen, there are about 7 communities that have been selected as part of that legislation, but only 2 can be awarded at the first onset. Our hope is that York can be competitively positioned to be one of those first communities as it rolls out in 2014. And then from that point forward, we can continue the good work that we've started nearly a decade ago. Specifically as it relates to our Bureau of Health, to their credit, to that Bureau's credit, they're hosting a Matter of Balance training event at the Yorktown Hotel, which is essentially a Train the Trainers event. The Commonwealth acknowledged the fact that our community is probably one of the premier healthcare organizations in terms of how it relates to its community outreach. And the intention is to prevent falls and unintentional injuries for seniors. So that event will be basically the 19th and 20th of November, and really is a testament to the level of service that York's Health Bureau provides to the community. Additionally, for the Bureau of Health, we're competitively competing to launch or participate in the county's Transportation Alternative Program, which will basically extend our bike network throughout the city. You may have noticed on corridors such as King and Philadelphia, chevrons in the street, areas that have been denoted or demarcated to basically allow for more pedestrian-friendly activities, biking of kids along thoroughfares that are safer in that conjunction. So we hope to continue that along the lines with the funds that we get from the county itself. And additionally, our health department is working to increase the urban garden movement in the community, to bring more fresh produce to the dinner tables throughout the city, and basically expand, enhance, and sustain the efforts of the existing gardens throughout the city itself. And last but not least, our Department of Permits, Planning, and Zoning, which is basically at the front lines of at the front lines of our department daily and deals with a huge volume of submittals of projects. We're looking to revisit the Citizen Inspectors Program and host a follow-up Citizen Inspector event tentatively around the fall of this year. We're thinking the first or second week of early November. and meet with the existing program participants and look for ways to improve upon the model, specifically as it relates to the intercommunication between the group and how those things that are found by that group are reported back to staff and subsequently dealt with. So basically, we continue to move forward. We continue to try to help you in whatever capacity we can. And if there's nothing else more to add, I believe that we're open and receptive to any feedback for comments or questions, Mayor, from not being too presumptuous.
So you heard a lot of information given out this evening. Should have told you to bring a notepad and pen, but we are all here with that information. You can talk individually with us if you would like afterwards, and of course we'll take your questions. As you can see, our business administrator, Michael O'Rourke, is not with us this evening, but I have a couple things from his department that I need to share with you that I would have expected him to. I've announced that our budget hearings will begin, where the directors will be giving me their proposed budgets for 2014. And those hearings will begin on Monday, October the 7th, with Public Works at 1 o'clock. The Department of Economic and Community Development will go on Tuesday at 1 o'clock. The elected officials, as well as the City Human Relations Commission and the Business Administration Department, will be on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. This is again the week of October the 7th. And on Thursday, October the 10th at 1 o'clock, I'll hear from our fire department and then our police department. Each day, there will be an opportunity for public testimony and/or comments. And Friday, we will conclude at 10 a.m. in the morning with public testimony. Now, these are just my hearings where the departments are giving me their proposed requests for 2014. As most of you know, City Council then will hear our budget after I present it to them, and they too convene budget hearings. And those are usually in the evenings. I don't have those dates yet, but that will be public information as soon as they are known. But just want to let you know that we are already working internally on our budgets for 2014, and they will be presented to me the week of October the 7th. Also in the Department of Business Administration, you all have heard me talk about the City of York sewer rebate program for our low-income elderly citizens and low-income permanently disabled citizens, and those that qualify with household incomes of $20,000 or less annually. The rebate program is active, and this year the due date for your sewer rebate form is November the 1st, and we have some of those applications in the back as well too. If you have any questions about that program, you can contact Wanda Ruffin, our revenue supervisor, at 852-8173, or just call City Hall and we'll get you in touch with the right person. But this is an important program to me, and I always want to make sure our senior citizens are aware of it, and that as many people as can apply and take advantage of that opportunity to get a bit of a rebate at the end of the year. So please, please, please find out as much as you can and apply for the program. That is what I have from the Business Administration Department. So you've heard from all of us and all of the department heads. We are asking you now for your comments. You may have direct questions to any one of the directors. You may have something general that we didn't talk about. I know you do, ma'am. And if you want to go first, you can, but we're open to hearing all of the questions and concerns. And if you could, to amplify, okay.
Yeah, we live on Wallace Street at 618. And we sit on the porch, and people are now coming up State Street and making the turn and coming up Wallace, which is a one-way street. They don't come up slow, they're coming up fast. We have a lot of little children there, and we would like to see if there can be a one-way sign or something put at Ridge and State Street to help tell these people that's a no turn. It's one way. And another one is, can we put up more school we were being thinking like it's a speedway, because they start from Sherman and they come down through, and they don't care who's out. And this has just started. And so we were wondering if more school zones could be put, signs could be put up with a smaller speed limit. The same way it's happening here in the alley now. Because these kids, I mean, they're part of our family now, because we've made a lot of friends with them. And the people have no regard when they turn off the state and head up through. They don't care. And so we were wondering if something could be there, maybe somewhere put a little speed bump or speed traps or something to help these people. Now, my husband did stop a couple of them. He will stand out and tell them to slow down. And our response is, who do you think you are? This is our alley. They don't own that alley, the city does. What? Do they have children going to school? Would they like that child to be hurt or killed? We went through that. And no more do I want to see anybody who's a child. So that's enough to get that. And another sign is this sign up here at Ridge and Canton. They seem to sail right straight through. Now Friday night there was an accident. Bill can tell you about that. And that car had children in it. The guy kept going. He never stopped. So, but can we make that sign bigger? Or what can we do? That's all I'm asking is something, think about it and see what can be done to help protect our kids here. And let's see. The speed bump, stop signs, school zones, and this here coming up the one-way street. Yeah, we're only one block with one way, well, 2 blocks with one way. And because you go to Ridge and Wallace, it starts 2. But it's getting to be a problem now all of a sudden. We've lived there since 1958, and this is the worst 2 years that we've seen in this neighborhood. And I'd like to thank the school for finally helping get the house at 620 down. It's a blessing to see it going. It's rubble there, but we can stand that now. 29 months was too long. So that's all I have to say. I'm going to take it under consideration and see what you can do. Okay. I mean, maybe you can, maybe you can't.
The first issue I think we can probably help you with. The one-way sign shouldn't be a problem, so that's the easy one. The school zone is actually regulated by PennDOT, and we will have to work with the school on that to see if we can get that. I'm not sure about Wallace because Wallace sits back behind the school. Now Philadelphia Street could probably get a school zone, but I can't tell you that for sure, but we'll have to work with the school on that. And then we'll certainly take a look at the stop sign at Ridge and Gas to see if we can do any more of that. I'd like to get your name and number after the meeting if I could, just so making sure we're getting all the issues you want us to look at. So.
No, I spoke with you beforehand, and like I said, you'll get contacted. We'll do our part and try and work on that. And like Mr. Gross said, there are some other things there that we'll work on to see what we can do. But you should hear from me within a day or two. All right?
Okay, next. Yes, ma'am, or sir? The lady behind you had her hand up first, sir.
Yes, I'd like to know what, if possible, you give us an update on what is being done on these houses that are left alone for 10 years, and the landlord was never there or the owners, and what are they doing to either buy them or have them pay taxes on them or something, but they're left alone, and they board it up, and people start hanging around with them, and this brings our roaches and ants and leases and everything else, and it's part of the people that are living there.
Yeah, I can give you some information, and maybe Shabosky can as well. We do have a vacant property registration program. So when we have these properties, we do get, or through an ordinance, they are to be registered. What that does is it gives us an idea of where they are. We have a pretty good database built now of those properties. And the main thing for us is we can at least check on those to make sure that they're boarded up properly to keep people from getting in the properties. Again, too, trying to track down the owners to keep a track of the proper owners. We do run into sometimes if they are going through foreclosures or the property changes hands to try to get, an actual owner that we can get orders out to make sure everything is secured and boarded up. Some of the properties, I guess, that end up being blighted, I guess, do you want to speak a little bit about blight? Yeah, I can. Okay. Some of the other things we can do with blighted properties.
So I guess I can touch on a couple of elements. If I'm not mistaken, you're my neighbor. You live in the West Princess Street? No? Doesn't matter. I'm getting sidetracked. Specifically as it relates to blight, the Redevelopment Authority, under Mayor Bracey's Zero Tolerance for Blight initiative, which is one of her first 9 and 9 inaugural activities that she wanted us to address, we took a really aggressive stance, went after a lot of properties that were on major thoroughfares, public nuisances, vacant, boarded up, basically anything that we could establish credible criteria on to get a solid court case to take the property from the committee to the actual Court of Common Pleas. And suffice to say, we were very successful in doing that. The problem that we have, though, is that we've only put a small dent in the amount of issues that are in every neighborhood throughout the community, and it's candidly outstripping a lot of our resources in terms of financial wherewithal. So what we've done, we try to take a much more strategic approach instead of just going scattered site everywhere in the city, but really focus on, again, major thoroughfares, high visibility areas that really affect our curb appeal, any issue that might be around a school and or a playground, potentially where we can get those. And in some instances, the title and the ownership is the tricky part, because they may be in a limbo of some sort where an owner might have a sales agreement, but he never really executed the sales agreement, so the previous owner is still listed as the property owner, but there's really no way to determine who to serve the paperwork to. And we try to navigate that as best as possible. Additionally, if it has an affectionate, what we call them, fire X's on it, that means it's a target for us to really go after and say, look, that's a blight. We really don't know what that situation might be behind that X. So we really try to mitigate those from that standpoint. And then the fourth element is if it's within an active redevelopment area, meaning one of those areas that have been defined and accepted by Planning Commission, that we'll target whatever properties we can within that box, so to speak, to try to contribute to the stability of the investment that's going in that area. So we've been successful in doing that in Old Town East. We've been relatively successful in doing that in Salem Square. And to a degree, we've been relatively successful doing it in Royal Square now. But again, we've tried to take a much more strategic effort because we have a finite number of resources that we can tap into, specifically dollars to tap into to go after the problem. The biggest challenge that we have is that most of the individuals that are the most egregious property owners in terms of absentee landlords, they have a bigger war chest than we do in terms of going after properties, because they can actually go to a tax claim sale, buy a property for next to nothing, and then they're a landlord. So I feel your pain. I live in the 700 block of West Princess Street. I'm surrounded by it as well. So it's one of those issues that I think all of us are intimately acquainted with and try to deal with on a daily basis, because the broken window theory basically states that there's a broken window on a block, it's going to affect pretty much in other ways everybody on this panel that's talking to you today, whether it's fire, police, or public works. So it's one of those things that we're really trying to get a grasp on, and hopefully with the continued effort of just pushing further, we'll be able to resolve it at some point in time. But to speak to the flip side of that, with the disposition piece of it, I have to put in a sales pitch and a plug. Anyone can find any of our blighted properties on the city's website. It's www.yorkcity/redevelopment-authority. I tried to truncate it and make it real quaint and just simply go with RDA, but our IS guys like long words for whatever reason. But again, you can find a full listing of everything we presently have in our inventory, see some of our successes and what we've been able to sell, find disposition instructions, contact information. But again, when we get them from someone that's a derelict property owner, we'd much rather put them in the hands of individuals like John Pender, who I have some good news to report to today, who's your neighbor. specifically as it relates to these RDA blighted properties. So hopefully that was informative.
You heard what the gentleman said as far as our bigger picture and how we are trying to address it citywide, but if there is a specific address or addresses that you need to bring to our attention, please do. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Abroad, and we've been really fortunate to have the Garden Club take on the beds across from Grace United Methodist Church and all the way down to Good Elementary. And they had a wonderful block party in the summer. But my question has to do with the neighborhood associations. I'm not clear what city group is in charge of the neighborhood associations and how those associations work. I'd like to see North Broad getting involved with Crystal's group that we're in. But are they connected with a particular department in the city, and what do they do, the neighborhood associations?
Not really. I'm sorry, you can't see me. We attend the Alliance of Neighborhood Association meetings, like many of the neighborhood associations of the city. But they're not, that's an independent organization, not tied to the city at all. And it really depends on the neighborhood association as to perhaps even what department might even be closely aligned to them based on their issue. Some of the things that are going on, it may be something just Public Works needs to work closely with them on, teaching recycling and litter control and those sorts of things, and bigger things, of course, too. But so we all sort of work with all the neighborhood associations where they are at. If there isn't a neighborhood association, we often work with groups or individuals or neighbors to start one, depending on their needs, and try to help them move forward, how they want to see their neighborhood change, if you will. But as you know, every block, every house is associated with a neighborhood association, but that doesn't mean we can't assist in a neighborhood if the needs exist.
It was like 5 years ago when I first moved to York that there was a meeting of all the neighborhood associations in the Buchart Horn building, but I may have missed them, but I haven't heard of a citywide neighborhood association meeting, you know.
Yeah, I don't think they meet at Buchart Horn anymore. McQueena?
And that's all the neighborhood association. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, sir, Mr. King. How are you?
Good evening. I got three questions I'm going to ask two, and I'll wait for some other people to speak. My first thing is that I live on Duke Street, and going down Jackson Street is very dissatisfying. Do we still have property managers? Property managers. City property managers, people go around, make sure that people's property is cleaned up.
Yeah. They are, and they are, as you know, for the entire city.
Okay. Well, they have certain areas. I had Bert Palmer, who was in our area, and Hispanic lady, I can't get a name right now, they had certain areas that they would check out everything. And of course, they've been up in our area, getting on our case a little bit, and but down on Jackson Street, from Persian Avenue down, it's very disgusting to see educated people who's got more education than what everybody in this room here has got. Some of them who live in those houses are working on their degrees. They're our next people's future, for the future, and they're too doggone lazy to take the trash to the curb. And if you go down through Jackson Street, because the trash is the same as what's on my street, Tuesdays and Fridays, say about 12 o'clock, there's 2 to 3 cans of trash in front of every so many houses down through Jackson Street. It's like they're too lazy to take the trash to the curb. And what's sad is that there's only about 3 to 4 people who own all those houses down through there. And it's almost like a click-click, they're all together. But then you go down through there, and it's very disgusting that most of these people, and I don't mean to harm them, but they're mostly people from New Jersey that ain't got time to take the trash to the curb because their hands are too good to take it to the curb. And all you got to do is go down on Tuesday after 12 o'clock, trash has already been through, and you'll see the officer, he's been down through there, where the outpost is at down there, and he's seen the trash. 2 and 3 overpiled trash sitting up there. And they sit right there in front of the house, and they're too high and mighty from New Jersey to take their trash to the curb. Which is the truth. It's just the truth.
I would guess, Mr. King, a good portion of that population are college students. That's not an excuse by no means, but we are working closely and closer with the college these days. They have a resident advisor, if you will, that's assigned to that area, as you...
Well, I'm going to cut you off, but I understand the college. College has educated these people who can do physics and pi 1, 2, and 3, which I can't even go to 100 and count, let's say. They got the education, but they don't, and they're responsible for where they're at out there on Jackson Street. Most of those houses are their frat houses. That's their responsibility.
Yeah, I guess what I was saying, I mean, as college students, it is a transient population as well, too. And as we work closer with the adults, if you will, the people that live in this community regularly, to work with the college students, we will bring up this concern. We will work to teach them as well, too. Jackson Street, as you know, is undergoing some major renovation right now, too, so that doesn't help. But you're absolutely right. It does look bad today. But we will do our best to help address the issue and get it looking better. We know at the end of the day, when this project is done, we will have nice curbs and sidewalks and lighting. So we want the residents, whomever they are, to take care of it as well, too, and put their trash out the right way. And sometimes it does take us back to reteaching and making sure people know. But all we can do is try, and that's what we'll do. We'll make sure property maintenance inspectors are in that area and aggressively working with the residents there, too. Your second question?
And I'll stop a minute.
That's fine.
Spring-Sbury, Jackson Street, Spring-Sbury, and Arlington Avenue. They run those stop signs like they're on Indianapolis 500. They do not stop at the stop sign. They fly straight through 8 stop signs.
Okay.
They do not stop. And they do it all hours of the day. They'll go through that stop sign 25 miles an hour, if not even faster. I'm serious around that circle.
Okay. We'll take a look at it. You have another question? Okay. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
You talked about vacant property registration. You have a phone number, which department is that phone number?
Yeah. You can call the fire chief's office, 354-3921.
Is that, can you do anything as long as, we have one next to us, which we basically take care of because about 8 years ago, the family just walked away from it.
Okay.
But they do pay the taxes. But my husband and I are remote, we take care of the snow, we keep it cleaned up. But now, the doors are deteriorating because they're kind of not like a solid door, they're like a flimsy wood door. The doors are starting to peel off because of the weather. They never come and check on the house. We walk around and check on it. But we were told by someone else that checked on the house that there was nothing that anyone in the neighborhood could do as long as they were paying the taxes.
Yeah. We even though they are paying the taxes, we can still, number one, get them, because as long as it's vacant, we can still get that registered. And again, just sort of gives us a chance to get some eyes on it. But if we still have violations there are some things we can do for that.
Well, you were the people that condemned the home because it was broken into about 2 years ago, and when they came in, it was floor to ceiling junk. It was a big fire hazard. And so you all came in and took out the gas meter, the electric meter, all the services, I should say.
Okay.
And since that time, you know, we haven't even come back to check on the house.
Okay. I can, if you want afterwards, I can get with you and I'll get some additional information from you. But yeah, I think there's something we can do with that.
Okay. And I just need to tell you, you're not alone on the stop sign. We live near Poplar and Layman Street, and we just had, 2 weeks ago, had a very bad accident up there again. It is so bad, the cars, when they hit, they broadside, they roll along the street, even a Cadillac or an
SUV. It's been, we've had the problem, we're there 38 years. And if I had $1, are wealthy.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? You don't want to do public, then, Mr. King. But I wanted to say, you don't want to do public, we're going to be here, and you can talk to us individually as well, too, but sometimes with your public question like me, it may generate something from someone else, too, so we're all friends here, so we're friends. Yes, Mr. King.
All right, well, the question is, it has to do with all homeowners here in the city. As you see in the paper, we have more and more sheriff sales, which is unfortunate. And let's say, hypothetically speaking, we've had over 1,000 houses for York City as sheriff sale, let's just say, okay? When you tally up the school tax for each one of those houses, property tax for each one of those houses, that's a whole lot of money. And the thing is, I foresee that somewhere down the line, if it keeps on going like it's going, of course, they're going to have to ante up the property and school tax. Because that's where everybody gets their money from, is from the homeowners. My family's from Virginia, I'm from Virginia, and Virginia does not have school tax. They don't have school tax. My parents' house sits on a lot of, it's a good quarter-acre land for house structure on it. My property tax is $1,100. They do, like I said, they do not have school tax, but they've been building schools down like they do over here. They have another thing too, is senior citizen is where you get a discount on your property tax. Now, Virginia's a commonwealth just like Pennsylvania, okay? Their taxes, they tax everything. Now, I'm pretty sure everybody who's a homeowner would have no problems paying higher taxes that doesn't make them pay school tax. And my theory of saying what it does, everybody pays their fair share. Everything is taxed. So I know you cannot do so much, but we have somebody here that's who has a person that's up in Harrisburg. They always talk about the lottery, they talk about the casinos, which is great and fine, but it hasn't made no drastic change. Now, they have had the paper just recently, I think this week or last week, they're talking about eliminating one of the taxes. I think they're trying to eliminate it, which I hope they do, because the homeowners cannot always keep carrying the burden of what's going on. And it's not the city hall's fault, it's just that people cannot keep affording their homes or whatever because of sheriff's sale. And it's very unfortunate. But like I said, Virginia does not have school tax. And they've been dragging their feet, I say, for a long time at the Harrisburg. Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. They haven't done nothing. They're still paying the same thing. You know, and taxes are going up. And they need to take a look at what Virginia does, because Virginia does not have school tax. We do not have it. You know, and it's for senior citizens like me and everybody else. When you're paying, well, like $1,700 for my house at Brook Street. You know, and if you don't have, if you don't have the pension or whatever that some people do have, and where we come from, we're with the Caterpillar, a lot of people can't afford what they got. You know, and it's going to be heartbreaking who wants to give up their house. It's like their life, that they almost fight for it. But Virginia, like I said, they don't have school tax. And unfortunately, my house in Virginia, which is my parents' house, sits on a good quarter-acre land. It's only $1,100 a year. And my house on Luke Street is not even half of that, and that's $1,700. So they need to look at something because the homeowners can't. I love York, but you know, can't keep on doing what's doing. I know it's not an overnight thing to turn it around, but they need to look at something.
I would encourage you to take that message to the entire York County delegation. Because the more they hear that, perhaps the message will eventually get through. I won't speak for Representative Schreiber, but I think he does support some sensible tax reform.
Because it'd be a relief for everybody.
The rest of the York County delegation, he keep hearing.
Yeah.
Right, please write, please send letters, emails, what have you, to our senator, as well as our state representative. Through our work with Pennsylvania Municipal League, we are trying to get them to see this bigger picture as well, too. We can't continue to sustain us in the community. We can't sell homes in the city with the cost, the taxes that we have to pay. So we get it, we understand that, but that is, as you already indicated, that is something that has to be changed at the state level. As Jim indicated, Representative Carter said it, we need all of you to help us be able to survive as a community. We're doing our work, knocking on their doors, beating on their doors in many cases, and taking that message to them, but we need all of you to do the same too. On our website again, we have a fiscal freedom campaign that's still up there, and we have those that are directly sent to our state representatives and senators with this very message we need for reform. So we check that out, and that's also as well too. We feel the same thing. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I feel his pain because we've had our house up for sale. We've been there 38 years, but we decided that we were going to leave the city this year. And we haven't been able to sell it because our combined taxes for the year are $4,800. Nobody wants to live in the city with the high taxes. So I feel his pain too.
Also, because I'm a senior citizen, I would like to retire, but I can't afford it because taxes are just so high. If I quit work and live off of my pension, I might lose my home. So I have to keep working. And I work too hard for my house just to lose it because of taxes.
Yes, sir.
I hope everybody can hear me. I have a quick comment for fire and rescue, and also a question from Mr. Buffalo and the gentleman administration. Before I forget, fire and rescue, I think you mentioned your Twitter account. You're on social media, but I don't think you mentioned your Twitter account.
Oh, good point. It's at York City Fire.
The reason I say that, thank you so much, is these guys do it right for anybody that's on social media. I'm wondering if you would attend a seminar or some sort of training in your department, or if it's just something that comes organically, because I've seen that some of the other city departments can benefit from whatever it is that you guys know, running your Twitter account. You're meeting with people where they are, instantaneous world, and you guys put out very useful information. So did you guys recommend a seminar, or is that just something that you guys?
No, just our story and our background on that. Again, going back to Hurricane Sandy, actually, I got to give credit to Jason Plotkin from the Daily Record. He contacted us, told us, some benefits of it, what we could do with it. We just sort of got it set up, and, again, I think our main goal or focus is to get pertinent, good, quick information out there. Place that it's out there, it's coming from us, it's accurate, it's factual, and it's a great way. For you, those not familiar with it, you're limited to 140 characters, and it's just quick information.
It's almost like you just send out a broadcast, and I like the way that the media takes it. You mentioned Jason Plotkin, and then they retweet it, which means they rebroadcast it. Just as he said, the importance of it is you don't have a middleman. It's coming directly from them, and you can see that on the social media account, so you know it's official and it's legit. And they really put out a lot of significant and useful information. I would like to see the other departments integrate that wherever possible. I know sometimes you don't have the resources to do it, but you can model I know Mr. Gross is on Twitter as well. Also, that's a lot of special announcements, which I think are useful. To the question that was brought up by the gentleman, and I really apologize that I didn't get your name. And I think that it's a general issue here. It's very widespread. We talk about the fiscal condition of the city. And to hear the plight of seniors that don't want to be kicked out of their homes. And to be quite frank, it speaks to my self-interest. As a young man, I don't want to start from behind, being in the city, being a part of the city. You see, we're all starting behind. You guys are losing out. You've been here. Let's talk about the elderly people. Typically are on the fixed income. As young people, we have a little bit of mobility, we're better off. And speaking to this tax issue, it's not just the schools. can briefly tell me, what steps are you taking to address some of the issues that were discussed, for example, in the city water report, which we just started at city council yesterday, where the MMO payments are still being delayed, we're not catching up, we're suffering penalties and paying interest that we're working to say to ourselves. But the problem with that is you're diverting much needed cash flow into paying these penalties. It's also putting us in precarious positions when we take out lines of credit just to have cash. Issue tax anticipation bonds. We're starting to write every year. We cannot fund our operational deficits. These things have led to Moody's, an investors ratings agency, classifying $30 million of general obligation debt in the city of York in the junk bond category, signaling to investors not to buy our debt. That's also going to impact our ability to secure good interest rates, impacts the bottom line, and all signs point towards raising taxes. Do you have any specific steps that will address and mitigate these significant issues? Because I don't want you to leave the city. Whatever brought you here, made you believe in it, I want you to be here with us. Same thing with the gentleman there, I really apologize again. Pardon me, I didn't catch your name. All of you, man, I want you to stay. I want this city to be viable for all of us. What specific steps are you taking, if any, to address these very significant issues?
Well, first of all, we are doing, I'm proud of, we are doing a whole lot better than a lot of our sister cities and cities around the Commonwealth. And we are maintaining as best we can. We have not gone into Act 47, we have not filed bankruptcy, and gas payments are delayed, but they're closer than what they have been. We're taking steps to get to them being on time. But at the same time, there's daily obligations and activities that must be covered. It's a whole lot bigger than just the audit finding and the junk bond status, which you know. So the steps that we're taking, the baby steps, but they're cautious steps, and they're steps that are keeping us out of bankruptcy and getting out of Act 47 and keeping the city salvageable. We are encouraged every day when we see new businesses coming into the city and people still desiring to work and live in the city. We don't want anyone to leave perhaps this other city because of their houses, because of the city taxes or paying the taxes. But the reality is this is a problem that is bigger than just the city of York. And the city of York is holding on and taking steps that we believe are helping us get back on the right track. Things are looking up from where we sit, and there's a little bit more to it in detail. I want to sit here and work with you, but we can definitely sit down and talk more. Bring in our business administrator and show you all the details that you want to see about it. But for the general public and what you all have seen and know, the city of York is holding on. And many of you have been supporting us in that way and helping us to reach the end goal of being able to stay out of the bankruptcy status and stay out of the city that is on the rise and doing a whole lot better. With the fact that the school district didn't raise their taxes this year, we're shooting for that same goal as well. We did raise them last year, and we know we have to keep it level for everyone so that we can all have a chance here. None of us can afford this, particularly as homeowners. So we're holding on as best we can. That's what I can say at this point in time. So we're not going to monopolize all the time when I can that issue, but we can sit down and talk more about it.
Is it okay if I ask another question on the
Please.
Mr. Buffalo?
Hopefully I'm going to accept those what I'm saying.
Mr. Buffalo, we spoke of this position for years now. I and others in the community have been asking for the redevelopment authority to create and publicize a disposition strategy and plan to get rid of the hundreds of properties. Some of them are vacant lots, so they say all the time. I want to engage my purpose. There are hundreds of properties now stuck in the city's government land bank, held by the RDA, Redevelopment Authority. Are you prepared to sit down formally produce so that the public can digest it and see what you have as far as the disposition strategy? Because I think that these properties, not all of them, are valuable in some cost, and the combined asset is tremendous. And to put them back on the tax roll so that we can expand the burden, rather than constricting the tax roll, we can expand it, I think would be a good thing. Now, when you visit the website, you don't see an exhaustive listing of these properties. Some of them disappear into the black hole. That's just true. Because the RD likes to pick and choose developers. They're very careful with who they partner with, but I think at this point you're a little bit too careful. So, do you have a disposition strategy? And if you don't, can you at least give me a minimum time when you would have? I know Mr. Schreiber, who was here, Representative Schreiber, he said there wasn't no specific time.
Well, I appreciate your question, and let me couch it with some facts for you. The Redevelopment Authority has exactly 282 parcels as of today. That 282 parcels consists of about 40 blighted properties. The remainder are vacant lots. Of those 40 properties that we have, of the 15,000 plus properties in the city, that's less than 0.2% of what the value of the taxable properties are on the books for the whole municipality. That being said, I don't think I'm I'm not trying to make it personalized, but I don't believe that the Redevelopment Authority is holding an overwhelming majority of valuable property in the city of York. As I stated earlier, we target the properties that individuals typically don't want. 115 South Howard Street, 41 South Duke Street. I'm picking properties that are in your neighborhood that less than a year ago, you and I both know you wouldn't want to live there. But we got to position them in a way that we don't perpetuate the problem. So what you call conservative, I call not replicate and work twice. The last thing I want to do is take a property that might be next door to these folks and sell it to someone that's going to be just as derelict as the person that has it now. So it takes a certain amount of responsibility on our part to make sure that that individual is in good standing, has the financial wherewithal to do it, has the capacity and the capability to do it, and more importantly, is vested in the overall vision of what we like to see collectively as a community. I cast no aspersions about it. I live on the 700 block of West Princess Street. I'm in the hood, so I get it. I'm surrounded by blight. I chose to live there. But from that standpoint, somebody has to really be directive in terms of how they want to pursue it. So from a disposition strategy, we're all beholden to the market. 4 years ago, I couldn't sell One West Marketway if I wanted to, because nobody wanted to take money off the sidelines. Today, people have come out a little more comfortable, have expressed some interest in some opportunities, but by and large, what you call a disposition strategy is nothing more than really just catering to people's individual interests for what we have. In terms of transparency, everything that we have is an open book. Everything. There's no picking and choosing of developers. If somebody doesn't have the economic means to do a project, that doesn't mean necessarily that I'm going to cast them to the side. That means that they need to go get their stuff together to come back and put in a credible bid that's a solid proposal that can win that business. That's just the nature of the process. So there's not a soul in this municipality that can tell you that I've excluded them from an opportunity to bid on a property. There's not a soul that can do that. And if they do, please ask them to come talk to me, because that way we can remedy it. I give open access of information to anyone that knocks on my door. There's no special picks. If it was, I'd probably select a few different developers than what come to the forefront now and give some people some shots that do have a couple of deficiencies in terms of what they want to do. But by and large, there's no undercurrent of some insidious or less than appropriate activity on how we get rid of these properties. It's really first come, first serve, and whoever has their stuff in order can put in a credible bid and take it off my hands. Because trust me, I need less properties to worry about, not more. I really don't.
I agree with that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's not exhaustive. Just quickly to say, you are saying with some environmental say won't work. For example, when the RDA took control of the Coleman properties, the Coleman apartments, I and all the others asked for a timeline, again, a disposition strategy, when they would once again relinquish that property back onto the public rolls. They said that would put them at a disadvantage, and so on and so on. So I just think we can balance meeting the goals with a little bit more equitable
taking a step back, since you specifically spoke of Pullman, there's an obligation that we have in terms of not creating chaos. When the redevelopment authority stepped in and basically interceded on behalf of the fire sale that was about to take place that could have potentially kicked 20-plus residents out of their properties, it wasn't something necessarily that we wanted to do. It was something that we had to do. There was a sense of obligation there. So rather than just define at the onset a strategy to get rid of it, the best thing to do is not to throw people into chaos and have them worried about what they would do over the holidays. So we didn't do anything. So to Kevin's credit, I mean, honestly, he took a leadership role and didn't necessarily give you an answer on the spot that might not have been in the best interest of anyone, because frankly, there was no answer to give you at that point in time. A year later, we intend to release an RFP to hopefully get some respectable developers at the forefront that can basically take that property and reposition it to a mixed income dwelling so that there can be some coexistence of affordable and some potential existence of market rate. So again, back to your point, the transparency thing, I mean, honestly, I think that's a misnomer, because we strive to basically put all our cards on the table.
Too comprehensive an issue to get into back and forth here, so I'm not going to do it. But, like I said, I disagree.
Okay.
But I do thank you for your update on the Pullman departments, because that initial progress, and it shows us what your position is for the current moment. So you can tell the Springs abbreviation, what it is, and what it means for the city, and we would like to.
Well, CRIZ is what I've been able to witness. I was fortunate enough to take a trip to Allentown with the representative and see the impacts of CRIZ in Allentown, Pennsylvania. But specifically to that point, what we've been able to see is that CRIZ, as I understand it, and again, I have a layman's armchair understanding of the whole process. I'm not expert or versed. The guidelines haven't even come out yet. But as I understand it, it's an opportunity to take tax revenue that's going to be created off earned income tax and diverted into principal payments to pay for debt service, which basically means that if a building developer wants to come to a community and take a vacant lot and reposition it and redevelop it, that whomever the tenant is in that building that didn't exist, their taxes, income taxes, will be utilized to pay back the debt service on the actual instrument. That doesn't affect property value, because basically if there was a parcel of land that was there pre-existing and you go and build a building, then that property now pays property tax. So it's sort of, from my understanding, the best of both worlds.
I don't think that if you're potentially going to have advantageous, and at least it's definitely better than what happens. Madam, regarding this stuff, I would like to take on some of the concerns that I've raised, and I know Senator Thompson has raised, along with your parliamentary party I typically function with. Regarding the school prison pipeline, we see forming here within the city school district with the now planned integration of a persistent police force to operate within the schools. I've done research, and other institutions are looking at this externally, where we've seen that hundreds, we might even go check this out, and a lot of that is obfuscated. Hundreds of citations are being issued in the schools. Summary violations for disorderly conduct, harassment, and trespass, sometimes to elementary school students, where normally disruptive and mischievous behavior that would be handled by trained school staff and personnel is now being handled by police officers. And they're criminalizing this mischievous behavior. I would like to get your opinion on this latest development in the school system here. And do you think that the impact that a school police force would have is as negative as some of us believe, with this exacerbation of the criminalization of typical everyday mischievous behavior? The vast majority of police interaction with school children is for summary violation. They're not felony people, we're not killing each other, it's not being rude in our school buildings. Next to that, of the school district is a very safe place to be. So I would like to hear your opinion on this. Do you think that the school prison pipeline concern is a bad one?
What I've heard about this is early stages in conversation within the school district. It's not the city of York's issue. I have my personal opinion that I'd be more than willing to share with you personally, but I want to know more about it from the school district before I vocalize a public personal opinion. I haven't even talked to our police chief about it or anything like that yet. So we're waiting for the school district to talk to us about this. It's a real early conversation that they're having. So I'll be more than happy to share personal opinions with you later. Yes, ma'am.
Part of the reason that we put our home up for sale this year was a large contingency of youth as young as 6, 7, 8 years old in our neighborhood, throwing rocks, destroying property, throwing rocks at faces high, kids on bicycles, 6, 7, 8 years old, as early as 5:30 in the morning roaming the streets. The children today, unfortunately, do not have parental guidance at home like you and I had. We went to the police department, we went to the mayor, and we had a meeting. And they told me that they would help us with our problem. Not only did we get my husband, there were several neighbors that were able to get. And I mean, we had a huge problem. And they told us that they would take care of it. I had a little bit of doubt in my mind. I mean, I really did, because the things that these children were doing, I mean, they were children. Some really young, up to maybe 17, 18 maximum. And they came through and did what they promised to do. So I know what we saw from our perspective of these students, and they are school students. I can only imagine what they're like in school. My husband's a substitute school teacher, and he sees it. He's no longer a substitute in New York City School District, but it's outlying school districts. And even those school districts with a parent or 2-parent family that care, those children still have problems sometimes. You know, but I know it's not like the city. I know that for a fact from talking with other families that have children and grandchildren that we know. But we had a serious problem with some, and the mayor and the chief of police and his officers came through first and did what they promised. They helped us with our problem before anyone suffered any serious injury. We had some property damage, you know, and some threats, you know, from the children. But we get to do they did. And this thing, if this comes to conversion, we can do that. I look at it and I feel that it's probably necessary for that to work.
And we handled that matter again because it was in our neighborhoods. I mean, this was an issue, it was not in the schools, and we want safe neighborhoods. We also want to be able to work with our school-age children. I mean, that's some of the programming that city government has afforded to parents and the public for our youth in the community, because, I mean, we know there's difficulties, and we want to be able to provide positive outlets, if you will, for the kids. Everything from working with the library to the bowling programs in the summertime, the programs that we're doing tomorrow night, our Mentor York programming. These are things we're trying to instill in our young people. But when there's obviously mischievous issues going on in our neighborhoods, our police department, and we will step up and do what we can. But you know, we're not. The city school district is a separate public lawful entity than the city government. And again, the chief and I haven't even spoken about the impact of a police department within the school district or anything like that yet. And they are a way away from that right now too. And I know Dr. Holmes and we talk about a lot of things, and we will talk about this too if this issue comes forward.
The school district also have public hearings where those questions should be addressed. right. That question is appropriately addressed at New York City School District board meetings where they are public.
Citizens, city taxpayers are actually contacted to make sure that is well. You should voice the regular school district. She could have something to add.
The only thing I want to add is the school resources resource officers that we have within the city school district. We treat their area, the schools, as a neighborhood. And in being in line with the mayor's directives to enhance community policing, we take those steps. Not only do the 2 officers that work in the school walk through the schools on a regular basis, we have officers on their regular patrols that stop and walk through. They're not there arresting kids. They're there to make sure that things are safe in the school. They're there to make sure that we can build some sort of relationship between the children in those schools and the police department. And I believe if you ask the staff here from Thaxton, Lincoln Charter Schools, they will tell you that they see our officers stop. Hold on, let me finish. Stop at those locations. Just wait. Okay. To mischaracterize what we're doing in the schools as taking children from schools to the prisons is totally inaccurate. The majority of the interactions that our school resource officers have in the school district are working out problems without making an arrest. When we do make an arrest, it's because an arrest is necessary to be made, and there are those times. So to miscategorize it as mischievous behavior that we then cite youth for is wrong. It's often dealt with without our officers intervening or with our officers mediating the situation without making an arrest, finding a diversionary way to deal with the problem. Sure.
What I would say is I'm basing my opinion not only off of data existing in the city of New York, but also based off of data making projections as to what a consistent police would actually accomplish and cause if it was to be formed in the New York City School District. In regards to that being open, what would you say to the dozens and dozens per school building, per campus, dozens of summary citations that are occurring per year?
I would tell you that those citations are necessary, and we're handling. Well, I'm not. Those issues are dealt with. Those issues are dealt with through the law enforcement system, and when we get to that point where we have to cite children, it's because we have to cite children. We do tons of diversionary tactics to try and not get to that point. And you're looking at raw numbers rather than looking at what actually happens. You don't have a day-to-day view of what's happening in the school. And quite frankly, I've taken many classes in statistics, and I can sit down and take raw numbers and punch them around in many different directions. What I look at is what takes place in the school districts on a day-to-day basis.
You may actually feel I something that will change the position that the department is saying yes or no.
Good. Mr. Gomez, you're more than welcome to come in and talk to me about it further, and we can. Sure.
And again, we're a separate entity.
Okay, yeah. I'm just putting some information. I had 4 sons who went to York High. I had a daughter who went to York High. And my daughter had problems because everybody wants to be in a clique. My sons didn't have no problem. My daughter had little small problems. But the problem is when you got kids that don't want to cooperate, the teachers, they send letters to the parent, and there's parents now that's got $800 to $1,000 fine because their kid's not coming to school. Number one. Number two, the teacher is supposed to be in the school to teach your child, everybody's child, from elementary up to high school. They're not there to, they shouldn't have to discipline the child. But when you got a child that's at, let's obviously use Hannah Penn, for example, a child that's at Hannah Penn, a couple of them got on ankle bracelets, there's a problem. When you got kids at that age got ankle bracelets on, there is a problem. And the problem always goes back to where they come from, which is home. Now, I'm gonna say this here, some people may not like it though, but when you have babies that have babies, the babies raise their babies is what they are already. And this cycle will never end. I know, this is in my environment saying, not be all the saying about it, but as long as this cycle runs like it is, they're always gonna have this problem in school where these gentlemen have to come to school one day because they got 4 or 5 kids acting up and don't want to listen to the teacher. The teacher should have the problem to say stop, and they stop, but when they don't stop, then if someone gets hurt, they want to sue the teacher. That's why we got the police force come in, because they're in right to hypothetically manhandle the disruptively so-called young man and or a young woman.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you to all of you. We are past our allotted time. I do appreciate you being here this evening, and we will stick around and answer any other questions. I want to make sure you know about the light bulbs that are in the back, free to you as a resident citizen of the city of York. There's also some healthy snacks over there as well. I believe somebody told me there's raisins. Yes, raisins. Thank you all for coming out tonight. We appreciate it. Thanks.